Title: The Love Psychologist. Frank had always been a quiet observer of life. At 25, with a master's in psychology, he understood human emotions better than most, yet love remained a mystery to him. He had befriended many girls, listening to their dreams and heartbreaks, but he never promised anything more than friendship. Marriage. That was a concept he hadn't dared to explore, until he met Rosie. Rosie was unlike anyone he had ever known. A free-spirited black woman with a sharp wit and an unshakable independence, she challenged his every thought. She was an artist, painting emotions Frank could only analyze. But there was one thing she made clear from the start: she didn't believe in love, and she would never marry anyone. The unexpected challenge. Frank, the psychologist who had always kept love at arm's length, found himself falling for the one woman who rejected it entirely. He tried to rationalize his feelings. Was it just curiosity? A challenge? But every time Rosie laughed, every time she passionately argued about societal pressures, his heart betrayed his logic. One evening, under the golden hues of a sunset, Rosie told him her truth. Love is just a chemical reaction, Frank. And marriage? A social trap. Why chain yourself to one person when the world is so vast? Frank, usually so articulate, stumbled over his words. But what if love isn't a chain? What if it's freedom? Rosie smirked. Prove it. The experiment. Frank, ever the scientist, decided to do just that. He proposed an experiment, 30 days of adventure, where they would experience life in ways neither had before. If by the end, she still felt nothing, he would walk away. Their journey took them through a midnight train ride, to a hidden jazz club, where Rosie danced like no one was watching. A spontaneous road trip, to her grandmother's village, where Frank learned the richness of her culture, stories of resilience, pain, and unbreakable spirit. A heart-stopping skydive, where Rosie, terrified but exhilarated, clung to Frank and laughed through her fear. With each experience, cracks formed in Rosie's armor. She had built walls to protect herself, from past betrayals, from societal expectations, but Frank wasn't trying to tear them down. He was just standing there, waiting for her to realize she didn't need them with him. The twist. On the 29th day, Rosie received news. Her estranged father, who had abandoned her family years ago, wanted to reconnect. The pain resurfaced, and she shut down. This is why love is a lie, she told Frank bitterly. People always leave. Frank didn't argue. Instead, he handed her a journal, filled with notes from their 29 days together. Not love letters, but observations, of her strength, her laughter, the way her eyes softened when she thought no one was looking. I don't need you to believe in love, he said. I just need you to believe in us. The choice. On the final day, Rosie stood at the edge of a pier, watching the sunrise. Frank waited behind her, giving her space. Then, she turned, eyes glistening. What if I'm scared? Frank smiled. So am I. And in that moment, she realized, love wasn't about certainty. It was about choosing someone, despite the fear. The love that returned.